Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sandra. Today we are going to get started with prep work number 2 for 2026 in my Cultivate What Matters Power Sheets Goal Planner. So if we flip to the first section here, we tackled the first little bit in the previous video. If you didn't manage to catch that video, I will link the playlist just so you can kind of go back and follow through with me. We brainstormed for the year ahead. We wrote down what I wanted to, like what fired me up, what I was passionate about, what kind of things I wanted to do. And honestly, it's not super exciting, but I gave a huge spiel in the first video about your goals don't have to be better than anybody else's. They need to be good for you. Okay. So I wrote good things that happened in the past year, the challenges, the lessons I learned, what I was grateful for. And then we finally come to the evaluation page. So the next little bit here, we have got in today's video, the evaluation page, upgrading mindset. So what's a negative mindset? What's a positive mindset? And what will matter, what won't matter, what I want more of, what I want less of. Okay, and then that's it for today. So we're going to get started. And so now this says evaluate where you are now. I'm sitting at November 13th today, so we've still got another month and a half to go of 2025. But it says fill in an area of your unique life you'd like to focus on in the year ahead, and don't hesitate. Oh, this is the blank category. So actually, so for the rest of it, it says, at the start of this new season, check in on each area of your life. What has been going well? What might need more nourishment or attention? Naming where you are now will help you know what to cultivate in the year ahead. So you give each area a rating between 1 and 10 of how you're feeling right now, along with a few thoughts on why you chose that number. 1 means you're not satisfied and want to see big change. 10 means things couldn't be better. Then mark the 3 areas you want to grow in 2026. So to get started, consider the questions for each area. What wins can I celebrate? What feels challenging? Do I have established habits, rhythms, and routines? Am I happy with the amount and quality of time I'm spending? Are my needs being met? And am I meeting the needs of others? Do my efforts feel purposeful and meaningful? So that's kind of a lot, but I'm just going to try to do the best I can, and we'll come back and chat. We will return shortly. Okay, so I'm done writing this out. My hand is officially numb, so thank goodness I'm talking because I can give my hand a break. So in a lot of these cases, I actually circled like a range because I wasn't sure. So with friends, I put 5 or 6, and it's strictly, again, I've done this a couple of years in a row now because it's the life stage I'm at. I've got little kids. I have been asked to go for coffee more than like, I've actually been asked to go for coffee a lot. And I just can't. If I had a little baby, it might be different, but it's not necessarily the fact that I have kids. It is because like my 2, almost 3-year-old, I can't control him. He would just like run out the door. Like, you know, like other people's kids, you tell them to sit and then they sit. My kids don't do that. Okay. I don't know why. And it's not because I don't discipline them. I do. They've got too much energy. They they're just gone, So anyway, I'm sure there's ways around that. But my other excuse is that I don't want to waste time not working. So when I let myself go for coffee or do something like that, which I probably should do, I should be doing those things. I feel guilty because then I'm like, well, at home, I could be getting so much work done. I could be cleaning my house. I could be organizing something. I could be working on a video. I could be, you know, cleaning. There's so, not just cleaning, but like, especially working on my work. I've got, like, to be quite honest, Monday to Friday, I treat it like it's an actual job where I go to an office and I'm expected to work 8 hours, except I don't always have to work 8 hours. If I was in an office where I had no interruptions and nobody bugging me, I could be done my work every day in 4 hours or less, depending on what my task was for that day. But because I'm at home and my kids are like, Mom, we want snacks. Mom, we want food. Mom, you have to do this. Mom, you have to do that. Oh, Mom, Logan did this. I'm constantly getting bombarded with interruptions, like every second. My kids are very needy too. It's not like are independent and they can go do stuff. I have to pretty much be there 110%. And so, but when I'm in a phone call, for example, like even if I was on the phone with my friend talking, and when you get carried away, like if you're just calling for 10 minutes, it's not a big deal, but you're on the phone with your friend, you're having a good conversation, you start talking about all this random stuff, you get carried away, and then your phone call is like an hour and a half later, and then you look at the time and you're like, oh my gosh, look how much time I've wasted. I don't just feel guilt, I get angry. I get angry because I don't like wasting time. And that's one of my downfalls. And it's good and it's bad. It's not necessarily a downfall, but like, because nobody really likes wasting time. But you have to prioritize what you want. So, do you want that good conversation with your friend or your mom or whoever? Because you have to think like time is short. We're not always going to have these conversations. Or should I be working? So I have to maybe reprioritize what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking it. Maybe, instead of letting myself sleep in, just getting up early, getting my work done in the morning, and then carrying on with my day. And then if I want to have those conversations or go for coffee, I am able to do that. I do see myself having a lot more free time when my little one is in grade 1, because then the kids will be in school full time. And then I don't have to worry about the constant interruptions. And then I can work for my, 2 to 4 hours a day, and then I'm done. So things are gonna change for me in the next couple of years. I've got 3 or 4 years before that happens, but I expect that things will change a bit more as they also get older and more independent. So I'm not too worried. I'm just living my best life the best way that I know how currently, if that makes sense. Okay, so family, I gave it a 7 or 8. I wish we had more money to do more fun things. Like my daughter was talking about going to Disneyland, and I'm like, oh my God, like we can't even like go for a weekend to a lake here in Alberta, let alone like to the States on a plane, on a trip. Like we don't have that kind of money. And the reason why we'll get down to finances in a sec. But it does get boring. Like I understand, like I'm busy working and I'm an adult, so I don't like play with toys, I don't play with friends, I like do my work. So I get it. It's different um, for my kids because they're stuck inside, especially winter. Like our winters, you cannot go outside when it's really cold. They can't go out there and play. That would be ridiculous. Like on warmer days, like when it's like, -10, we could probably go out and do some sledding, but that's like a family thing. Like they can't just go out by themselves and we have to go away from the house. We can't be in the backyard. So, like, winter is especially hard. Summer is easier, but I still don't trust my little one out by himself. So, he always needs somebody to kind of watch him. And it's just very hard right now. Again, season of life. And then my husband has to work. So according to his schedule, it also changes all the time. So, right currently he's in the process of potentially getting laid off before Christmas. And like this is a thing that always happens. It's every year. It's expected. We just don't have the money to save to have like the 3 months worth of income. Like we're in a rough shape right now. Like not rough shape, like we can still afford to buy things, but we don't have that savings or the cushion where he can afford to take a week or 2 or 3 weeks off. But anyway, his work cuts them off 3 weeks at Christmas time because the ground is too frozen for them to dig, and he works outside in the ground, right? They lay pipe. He's a pipe fitter. So, like where we live, it's just kind of the way it is, and it's always been that way. So he has to try to find other work over Christmas, and like I'm praying that he does. Okay, so getting down to finances, I say 3 more years to go because we are in the middle of a consumer proposal. So it's kind of like bankruptcy, really. Um, but it doesn't affect your credit as bad as bankruptcy. And it takes 6 years, not seven. And anyway, so we're in the middle of that. We've completed 2 years. We're still going 3 years strong. And our money, access to money is very, like, it's limited. It's a little bit more limited than it would be if we weren't in this. And it's definitely a good thing. I'm glad we did it when we did, especially. Um, but that brings us to the next question is that I'm still budgeting, still trying to make things work. I'm struggling with the cost of food, struggling with the cost of everything, basically. And our family is trying to help us out as much as they can, but it definitely is a struggle. So this leads me, do I do budget videos for 2026 or do I not do budget videos? So I've asked the question, I've put it out there on my social media to see what people want to see. I've got quite a few people who want to see budget videos, and I'm just a little nervous about it because I got some negative feedback the last time I had budget videos on my channel. People will leave negative comments about what you're buying, what you're spending your money on, and it's really nobody else's business. Um, but like obviously you're putting it online, so of course you turn it into other people's business, and then they're free to leave comments on it. They're free to have an opinion on it. Um, so even if you want to like cut that negative stuff out of your channel, you can delete the comments, but you still read them and it still makes you feel like really crappy. So I need to decide what to do there. Health and wellness. So working on physio, I'm due for a knee replacement, but my doctors and I, like at first they were pushing knee replacement, and I'm like, I've got little kids, like it's not an ideal situation or time for me. So I'm going to be getting this hyaluronic acid shot in my knee, similar to cortisone, but it lasts a long time. And it's like a cushion for your knee joint so that you can get another year or two out of your joint before you have to get a knee replacement. And I don't know how long you're allowed to do it for, but if it's not completely painful, we'll see how it goes. But they insert it right into your joint, like right between the bones. So that kind of grosses me out a little bit, but we'll see how it goes when I get it done. Home and spaces. So I gave it an 8 because I have determined that I'm going to be making a schedule. So not only a schedule for my cleaning routine, the bathrooms have to be done every week. The bedding has to be done. The blankets have to be done. But also the tidying, organizing. So I already have a list of all of the areas of my home, and I basically rotate through. So you know how like you clean something and you need to maintain that. And if it was just you, like if you're living in your place by yourself, it's easy to maintain. You put stuff back exactly where it goes. You like it's easy because you know what belongs where. But when you have like family members that don't really care and they just put it wherever, then you're going to have to go back in there and reorganize it. So like your pantry, you might have to reorganize that. You have to go through and check to see if there's stuff that needs to go in the garbage. So stuff like that, I'm going to be reorganizing sporadically. So I'll do 1 to 2 projects every week and just continue until the end of the year. Okay, so next, home and spaces. Oh no, I already did that. So the other thing is I'm going to get the kids involved more in chores. I'm going to make a star chart. We were going to do that this year and then we just didn't. So I'm going to get them more involved, give them more responsibility. And then spiritual personal growth, I gave it a low number because I just have not had time. I do not prioritize this and I really want to. So I need to find a better way of doing my work and all of the other things in my life in order to make this a higher prioritization. Work and learning, I gave it a pretty high number because I've been doing good with work. I have a good schedule. My biggest thing is to not procrastinate and get things done on the day that I've scheduled them. So like if I'm filming a video, like for example, Thursdays I film my Blonde with me and my Franklin. Friday I do my Blonde or Perfect video. As long as I edit those videos on the same day that I film them, I'm good. Because I don't want to have to work in the weekend. And then when I procrastinate and I don't edit them, then I start to panic, then I get anxiety, and then on the weekend I can't have fun. I can't do fun things because, oh, I'm stuck at home working. So I want to get in line with that. And then also, I'm shutting down my Etsy shop because I'm done with the fees. I'm going to move to a new platform, perhaps. I might keep the same one. I just have to do some research and see what works best for me. And then I'm going to redesign my site, maybe go onto a new platform again, don't know. But I'm going to aim for the end of quarter 1 to be complete and launch. We'll see. Self-care. So this is what I chose for my blank area because I need to focus on me. And sometimes I feel selfish, but I need my alone time. So when I was younger, all I wanted to do was be with somebody. I wanted to have, you know, because I felt lonely all the time. I didn't want to be by myself. And now all I want to do is be alone because I've got kids bombarding me. I've got my husband, I've got my dog, I've got my bird. I have so many responsibilities. I just want quiet time. I want to sit, I want to write in my morning pages with nobody talking and just sit and do my work with nobody talking. Like, when you're trying to multitask and then somebody's in your ear talking away, that's my daughter, like consistently. So, anyway, self care, me time is going to look like having a hot Epsom salt bath, reading a book in quiet, having my morning pages, listening to the birds on the back step in springtime and summer. Just stuff for me that I enjoy, going to karaoke, like talking with other adults, maybe talking, having conversations on the phone, just stuff for me. So that's my evaluation. I'm just going to pull this tab off because we're done that one. And next we are going to go to the cultivating your mindset. So this section says, have you ever felt like too much or not enough? So what you believe about yourself and how it shaped your identity. So you compare yourself to others. Social media, that's a big one because I kind of think social media is a big, it really affects your mental health. So that's one thing, that's kind of what I was talking about with the budget videos. What others say about you, your childhood and your parents, your faith, your past performance, your spouse or your partner, or a blank area. So I'm just going to read this quick. It says, what you believe about yourself, your life, and the people around you shapes how you spend your time and the goals that you achieve. For example, if you dream of owning your own business and believe you have something unique to offer, you'll keep taking the next step forward. But if you don't believe what you have to offer has any value, you might hold tight to your good seeds and never plant them. So you'll never do anything because you're too afraid, you're too scared. So how can we change it? Words matter. So you have to say, I'm brave. I'm not like a scared 9-year-old standing in front of the class shaking because she can't speak in front of people. So it says a negative mindset can limit us, dictating who we are, who we aren't, and what we can and cannot do. Instead of staying stuck, waiting for someday, you have the power to move forward by cultivating your mindset. When you use honest and compassionate words instead of false and negative ones, your actions and outcomes will change too. So what happens if you flip the script? So for me, like what has happened, like the beliefs that have shaped my identity, I think all of these really. I used to say that I never compared myself to others, and I don't necessarily compare myself to others, but I do look at people and I admire traits they have that I would like to adopt. But I'm not jealous of people like, oh, I wish I could be more like them. I just do things that make me more like them if I like those traits. So not to be like that person because I'm me, but if like, for example, they're really organized, I'm like, okay, what do they do that I can adopt to also make me more organized now? So like that's not really a problem that I suffer with personally because I am organized. Like I don't really compare myself. Like I'm not like, oh, she has that. I wish I had that. And I guess let me rephrase that. I guess initially I might say that in my head, but I don't focus on that. I just focus on the things that will make me get better, like and get the trait that they have that I admire. So social media, that's not really a thing. I think part of this, and like this is something that everybody probably experiences. Like, you know, when you see a video of yourself and you cringe and you're like, ah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear my voice. I don't want to see my face. I think I'm ugly, or I think I'm this, or I think I'm that. I feel like that's part of this, and part of it stems from social media. Like, for example, when I go back and I edit my video, I've been getting used to seeing myself on camera. I'm used to hearing my voice, and it's interesting, right? So I do notice, like, when you're younger, when you're in your teenage years, you figure everybody must be talking about me. Like, everybody is saying this, everybody is saying that. And when you get older, you realize that we're all too busy to be talking about each other. So, and like, I don't know if that's actually true, because I have come across times when people have been mean. And then usually if I hear that, I put them in their place. And I'm like, you know what? Like, don't you have too much time on your hands to be talking about somebody else? Like, mind your own business and do your own thing, and mind just, you know, forget about it. But honestly, the one best piece of advice I could give you for this is, it's not your business what other people think or say about you. Okay? Not your business. And who cares what they say? Because usually, if it's something negative that they're saying about you, that means they're unhappy with whatever it is in their own life. So don't care about what they say. But a big thing for me, I think, what shaped my identity is my parents and growing up. So my dad was born in 1935. He has passed away. It was like 18 years ago, a long time ago. But he has passed away. But he was born in 1935. So he was like somebody my age, like our grandpa. Like, that was my dad. My dad lived a very rough life in the dirty 30s growing up. And it was very hard for him. And having kids, he kind of raised me as somebody who's like my parents' age, but not so much a baby boomer, because I didn't experience those same things. Technically, I'm a millennial, but I see myself as a Generation X because I grew up like a Gen X. I didn't have internet or phones or a computer until I was almost 20. So I've lived half my life without internet, without any of that. I grew up in the country until I moved to Sherwood Park, but I still grew up without any technology. And then I found technology in my 20s and kind of grew as stuff grew. So, like, I had a flip phone, which, you know, you had to, like, you couldn't text on it. You had to, like, press the numbers like 3 times in order to get a letter. Then I had a BlackBerry, which I thought was the most amazing invention in my life. And then I got a computer, and I was like, oh my God, like, how do you get the keyboard to text words and then they appear on the screen and you can print it? Like, that's so amazing. And then I had a smartphone. So I've grown with the ages. And then my mom, she grew up in a hard way as well. And so I was just raised differently than people my age. And so I don't see things the same way people my age see things, if that makes sense. So for me, my mindset, my identity is shaped hugely by my childhood. And a big thing with that is because I grew up with technology, like, I didn't grow up with it. I experienced what it was like not having technology for the first half of my life. I was 20 years old when I got my first computer, and it was a dial up. Okay. And I was in my 20s, like mid 20s when I got my BlackBerry. I was like 20, maybe 28 when I got my BlackBerry. So I was already an adult. So before I had kids, I was like, my kids don't need technology. My sister did the same thing. And when she actually had her kid and found out that her kid had to, like, be on a computer in kindergarten, she went ballistic. I wasn't that bad, because now I think the digital age is very good. People, like, kids are learning differently than I learned as a child. Like, I think all children have this magical ability to have this, like, imagination, which we lose when we're older. And I like to think that I still have that, a little bit of that, because it's what makes me special and makes me magical. Um, and I believe in magic. Like, I do. I mean, not like abracadabra type magic, but real magic. You know, and the beauty of a sunset. Like, you know, it's hard for me to explain, but I feel like I haven't lost my imagination. Like most people have. Most people hit the cold, hard world and they're like, wow, this is what life is. Okay, let's get to work. Let's work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and forget about, other stuff. And they have this tunnel vision. Um, but I see the benefits of how kids are growing up now. I see how my son is learning. He's got skills that I never had at his age, but I also feel a little bit nostalgic and sad that he'll never experience how I grew up when I was in my, like, growing up on a farm, being able to feed the horses, hearing the wolves howl, seeing like a crystal clear sky full of stars because we're not in the country and we live in a city. And so they'll never experience what I experienced. And so I'm hoping that I can tell them stories and, tell them about the days that I was running around wild and free on my farm with my dog and just having the best time. Because I don't really have that many pictures of myself growing up, to be honest. But I wouldn't mind breaking out my photo album and showing my daughter some of the things that I did and showing her when I was a kid. So actually, that's a good idea. You know what? I'm going to do that. I never even thought about doing that. I did that with my son when he was younger, and honestly, he's a boy. He didn't care. So, photo albums. Because if anything happens to me, they're going to inherit these photos and they're going to be like, well, who is this? What is this? I don't even know what it is. So I'd like to be able to like sit down with her, show her pictures, and like talk with her about it. I think that'd be really fun. Okay, so faith. I grew up as a Christian, I guess. I was forced to go to church at an early age. It wasn't all the time because we lived in the country. We didn't have a vehicle. We didn't even have running water, to be honest. Um, I don't think we had running water until we moved to a smaller town, which is crazy. I mean, that's how people in the 30s lived. But yeah, we never had running water. We had to carry pails of water from our well to the house. So life was difficult a lot of the times. There were times that we did have running water, but it was not all the time. And so um, we didn't always get to church. And like my dad didn't believe in church. But my grandma was very Christian. And I felt like a little bit she tried to push it on me, like, if you don't believe this, you're going to hell type thing. Um, and so as I got older, I formed my own beliefs. I thought for a while I was atheist. And then as I got older, not because I felt like I needed to believe in a God in order to deal with the harshness of life, but that I feel something. I feel like there's something more. And so I've become spiritual. If anything, I am pagan. I'm not Christian or Catholic. Um, I don't celebrate a Yule as a lot of people would. I still kind of keep with Christmas celebration, and it saddens me that in our schools we're not allowed to celebrate Christmas anymore. So because we've had a lot of influx of different nationalities and cultures, um, the public schools have like done away with Christmas. We're not allowed to use the word Christmas. We have to call it a winter holiday. So that saddens me because the way I grew up, I felt like it was so much fun. We used to have like Christmas concerts and we used to be able to sing Christmas songs, and they're not allowed to do that anymore, which really disheartens me. It makes me sad because this is how we grew up, and I'm all for change. And I think a lot of change is good sometimes, but this, I'm like, it's music, it's fun, it's not necessarily Christianity. And I know Christmas is based on Christianity, but it's still, to be quite fair, Christianity stole a lot of the pagan holidays. So, they did that to cover up the pagan holidays, which is, it's funny. If you've ever like learned about the history of religion, it's quite funny. But it does make me sad. It makes me sad because my kids are never going to experience what I experienced growing up. And I had a pretty good life. Like I had lots of bad things happen to me when I was a kid. Um, like I didn't have the perfect childhood, but I do hold on to the positive things that happened, and that was definitely one of them. So, past performance, everybody's done things in your youth that maybe have been stupid or that you wish that you hadn't done, that you regret. But I try to let that go, and I'm like, you know what? I'm still a good person. Who I am at my core, I'm a good person. And they're learning opportunities. So if you've made a mistake in the past, if you don't learn from it, you're making another mistake. You need to learn from things that have happened and to move on and not to do those same things again. Okay, and spouse partner, I have to say, like, my husband is nothing but supportive in everything that I do. So I'm very lucky in that regard. But everything has shaped in a small way or a large way. All of these things have shaped me as who I am today. But I have done a lot of critical thinking, and when it comes to my kids and they're all crazy and all over the place, I kind of think, you know what? My kids are going to be fighters. Like, when I see someone like tell their kid to sit down and they just sit and they don't question it, I'm like, what kind of person are they going to be growing up? So in my opinion, I think there's a fine line between like when you listen directly and you don't question authority. I think authority should be questioned all the time. It gets exasperating, absolutely, because like a parent's authority, generally you think, oh, your parents know what's best for you, but not always. I mean, we've all experienced that too, right? So anyway, I think my kids are going to be fighters, and that's what I want more of for them. I wasn't a fighter. I learned to be a fighter. I learned to question everything. I've learned to question like our rule makers, the authorities, right? Like, they don't always do what's best. Like, people are people. People make mistakes. So that's probably one of the most valuable lessons you can take away, is that people are people and we always make mistakes. Anyway, let's move on to the negative mindset and the positive mindset. So it says upgrading a limiting mindset. So it's not just like negative, it's also limiting. So I'm going to write that word. I like that better. So name any negative thought patterns below them, write how you might reframe them. So an example is, I am bad with money, might become, I am learning to manage my money, which is true. Like, I spend too much money. I think everybody does. So sometimes I like talk about it like this in my head. I'm like, oh, well, you can always get more money. And it's true. Like they say, like, spend the money, do what you love, buy what you love, enjoy it while you have it, because it's not always going to be there. But they always say you can also always get more money. Like, I'm huge into manifesting, belief in positive mindset. And generally, when you say like, this is what I need right now, you usually get it. You might not always get what you want, but you do get what you need. And so I think that's a big thing I would focus on. Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to write down some ideas and then we'll come back and quickly chat about it. Okay, so I was trying to think out of the box here. So limiting negative mindset, I can't balance my life. So I'm learning what's important to me and what I want to focus my time on. So it's a work in progress. I'm learning. Every year I change things up. So one year I might focus on my spirituality. Another year I focus on my business. Another year I focus more on my family. So these are things that this goal planner will help us do. I worry we won't have enough money. Money is always available. It's always readily available. My home is always messy and disorganized. So this is something I've implemented, a 10-minute tidy. So at least once a day, usually at bedtime, my house is clean. At least once a day. I don't waste my time and clean up 3 times a day because my kid just tears out the toys. He doesn't even play with it. He tears it out because I've cleaned it. So I do it once a day after he goes to bed, and I have peace at night and I have peace in the morning. The positive mindset here is, I'm developing systems to have an orderly and neat home. My kids are crazy. My kids are extremely smart and will question everything, and they will learn to think critically. My goals aren't exciting enough or worthwhile. My goals are perfect for me right now, at my life stage. What I'm doing isn't making enough money. What I'm doing is making me happy and allowing me to function so that I can do the job of raising my kids. So these are truths that I need to accept as a stay-at-home mom. That's my job right now, is to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm lucky enough to be able to talk with you guys. I'm lucky enough to buy the things I do, to plan my life, and to enjoy my planning process. I have, Planner Perfect leathers. They're not cheap, but I'm lucky enough to be able to get them so that I can enjoy what I do and that I love what I do and work with people and talk with people online. And it's extremely beneficial to my mindset, like my peace of mind, my mentality, my mental health, and it's making me a better person. All right, so now let's move on to this last page that we're going to look at today. It says name what matters. So what will have mattered? So for example, close relationships with my kids, opening my home to others, mentoring the next generation. What won't matter? What other people were doing on social media, getting one more thing done, and how early I retired. So I'm going to brainstorm this area, and then we'll come back and chat. Things that will have mattered to me: raising smart kids, having close relationships with my kids, spending time with the people I love and making memories, taking all the pictures, making good friends, and enjoying time with my pets while they're still here. Things that don't matter, that my kids didn't always clean up after themselves, all the dead batteries, and I said maybe because it's not good for the environment, having a messy house, completing all the things on my task list every day, what negative comments people see on social media, the broken dish, and the garbage mess that my dog just got into. So I did say here, this is kind of like the takeaway here, is you don't need to fight all the battles. So another way to phrase that is pick your battle, right? You don't want to be in competition every day with anybody because it's exhausting. You don't want to even be in competition with yourself. You want to have a positive day. You want to get things done, but you also want to enjoy your life. And enjoying life means enjoying and loving the people that we have along with us for the ride. That is the most important thing. So I have to move on because I'm going to cry. It's going to make me sad. Okay, so now here it says make decisions on where you want to spend your time. So you know what matters. So it's with your family, with your friends, with your kids. So now this is making the big decision. So for the next year, for 2026, where do you want to focus your energy? So it says they might be habits, roles, relationships, beliefs, or behaviors. So for example, more morning bike rides, candles at dinner, cheering others on, less buying stuff I don't need, rushing others, believing I'm not enough. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to do some more brainstorming and I will be back and we'll talk about this final page. I think that's all I can think of here for this moment. So things I want more of: I want more downtime and relaxation. I want more laughter, more reading. I want to do things that make me feel good, make me happy. I want a clean and tidy house. I want more quality time with my kids, Chad and my mom. I want encouragement, healthy movement, quiet time spent writing morning pages. I want more affirmations, glimmers, and successes. I want to increase success in my business, and I want steady work for Chad so that we're not hanging by the last thread. What I want less of: less rushing. I always feel like I'm rushing, like, hurry up, we have to go. Like, I don't want to do that. I just want to be calm and collected. I want less yelling, anger, and stress. I want to not worry about getting all of the tasks crossed off my list, and I want to reduce the anxiety that brings. So if I don't get everything done, it's okay. Let's put it on the back burner and do it the next day. I want less anxiety. I want less of other people's negativity, and I want less talking. But I've got little kids, so I'd rather have them chit-chattering in my ear than them not being here. So yeah. So that is it for this section of the prep work. Hope you guys are following along. But next time we're going to start looking at my most purposeful year, and we're going to start brainstorming goals for the year. So things I want to take care of in all of my life categories. And then after that, we write out the goals for the year. So it's a little scary, it's a little daunting. But I mentioned the previous video that I was going to use this as a yearly goal platform. And then when I get to January, I'm going to get one of my my wild cards, and I'm going to put it here, and that's going to be my Q1 goals. Okay, so I think we're focusing on the first 4 goals, so I'll be writing that out. And if it gets to be too much, I might extend this to 6 videos, so we'll see how it goes. But that'll be the next little bit. I'm just going to look here. My most purposeful year. This. Writing out the goals. I mean, that should be doable. That's only 4 goals. It's not that bad. So I hope you guys stayed with me this entire time. I hope you understood what my messages were. If you have any questions, like usual, please feel free to ask, and I will get back to you as soon as I'm able to. Without further ado, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for watching today's video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you're new, please subscribe. Click on the bell button. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.